So we'll go ahead and give it to Ethan and kind of get started on tonight's dinner. Obviously, I'm going to interrupt with a bunch of random questions, but questions that will help you kind of paint a better picture of what you're cooking in the grill and what we're cooking up in King County.
All right, and this is me now.
This is you now.
Well, don't go anywhere. You're going to help me out a little bit.
All right.
No, but seriously, you guys ask questions. I know Lauren and is going to be on here with us the rest of the night. I'm here. Ruel's here, and we would love to have questions. These events we've done a few of them. We're still getting more polished as we go along with these virtual events. It is something that's going to be kind of a future thing. So you guys ask questions. We'd love it if you guys would engage with us and have your questions answered. Obviously we're talking about some serious subjects here, but the whole conversation doesn't need to be serious. We're here to engage with each other. We've all been missing hanging out with our friends, missing human to human contact. So we're doing the best we can with this. Well, I'll keep an eye on the chat, but you guys feel free to go in there, and I highly encourage you to do it. I'm actually asking you to do it. Any question you guys have, please do it. So, but we're going to start with the cooking process, right? So we gave you guys a few cooking kits here. Now this whole thing I'm going to do is a demo. You guys can try to cook along, or you guys can go ahead and just watch, ask questions, chat with each other, and then pick up some tips, and we'll go from there. Because I'm going to do it's partly a cooking class and partly just a cooking demo. It really is intended just to show you guys how we build flavors in restaurants, show you how we do things. Talk to you about some of the ingredients we use and some of the cooking tools we have, right? Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is go over the menu. You guys got a kit today. It had some heirloom tomatoes, my favorite olive, which is called a Tajasca olive. It's a Ligurian olive from Italy. A little bit of rosemary lemon vinaigrette, and some green beans, which you guys will need to blanch off. But make sure you blanch them off in really salty water, because the extra salty water penetrates the green beans and gives them extra flavor and preserves the color. So make sure that you are cooking them al dente, and then make sure you're shocking them in ice baths to make sure they cool down really quickly. You want a nice crunch to them. And then we're going to go on, and some of you guys had chicken, and some of you guys had steak, and I think there was a couple of polentas out there, which I'll show you how to grill some polenta. And then we've got some baby squash, some patty pan squash, some baby zucchini, some peppers, and then just some corn. Keeping it super simple, backyard barbecue, and keeping it nice and light. It's the time of year for Seattle where you want to be outside. Today is a great day and the weather's awesome. It feels great to be out here. And we'll go from there. It's great. So let's talk about some of those things. Okay. Obviously here you guys see we have a grill. I'm a fan of the Big Green Egg. I know it's a little bit of a beast of a grill. I think it's a really well-made thing. Our friends down at Sutter Home and Hearth, it's a great little company down in Ballard that does a great job with selling these things. I think it's a great piece of equipment. I'm older than most of you on this call, so I feel like I've earned this over the years, just so you know. It was a big one. Let's go ahead, and first thing we're going to do, I'm going to show you how we make our tomato salad. It's pretty simple. I like when we have heirloom tomatoes during this time of year. I like to make sure that they're nice and fresh, nice and ripe. I always make sure that I never refrigerate them. I think refrigerating a tomato is a negative thing. It makes them a little bit mealy. If you guys have had heirloom tomatoes where they're a little mushy on the inside, that's oftentimes because they've gotten too cold. So I definitely try to make sure that they're always at room temperature. Try to use them as quick as possible, or let them ripen a little bit at room temperature. So here we go. This is a little farmer's market heirloom tomato I got last weekend, actually, up on Whidbey Island. There's a tiny little farmer's market up on Whidbey Island in Langley. It's called the Bayview Farmer's Market. It's my favorite one, actually, in the state. Obviously, I live in Ballard, so I love Ballard Farmer's Market as well. So what I'm basically doing, cutting big wedges of this. And what I want to do is make sure that I'm just getting big chunks of these things. You can cut them any way you want. It's not a big deal. There's no hurry. There's no rhyme or reason. What you want to make sure you do is you use a nice sharp knife, and cut them in nice pieces so that they're not getting bruised, not getting smashed at all. You just want to have a nice tomato bite when you do this, okay? A lot of tomato chatter? Okay, somebody said thank you for the tomato tip. No problem, guys. And whoever said refrigerating tomatoes is a crime is a genius, just so you guys know. Thank you. Okay, so this is how we do this at restaurants. Obviously, you know, we try to make things look pretty. And I'm going to save that one. Actually, you know who's going to get that? That's going to be Ruel.
Yo! All day, every day.
Okay, so now when I do this,
Cheers.
I'm trying to make things pretty simple. So we talk about ingredients. This is my favorite salt in the world. Now, it's a kosher salt, which a lot of people use. But this is a very specific kosher salt called Diamond Crystal. I think it's the best salt out there. This is a workhorse salt. There's two types of salt, in my opinion. One is a workhorse salt, and one is a finishing salt. The really crunchy ones, the fancy ones. A workhorse salt, for me, is something you put in your boiling water. You put something you season your steaks with, something you season your tomatoes with. And then a finishing salt is something you do after it's cooking. Like you grill a salmon fillet, you sprinkle a little bit on top for a little crunch. So when I'm seasoning things, I'm pretty generous with things. I try to get as many sides as I can. It's a little windy out here. That's okay. Can you mix in tomatoes from your garden? Yes, you can do whatever you'd like. If you have fresh tomatoes, probably cherry tomatoes, which are great this time of year, you do it. I like a lot of fresh cracked pepper. This thing's called a Peugeot pepper mill. I think it's the best one on the market. I think it's amazing. There's a lot of pepper mills out there that work for about 3 months and then stop working. This is not one of them. I've had this one for about 3 years now. Actually, one at my house I've had since I got it as a going away gift from my job in 1999. It still works great. Not that any of you guys needed to know that. Ruel was asking earlier though.
I need the tips of the trade. I gotta impress the wife at home.
There you go. Okay. I've got some green beans on there. I have got taken my Tajaska olives. I like olives with a pit because I think they last better. They have a better crunch. You got to be careful with them as you are biting into them, obviously. But I think the extra flavor is worth it. Got a little bit of basil here. Obviously, we all know this salad's tomato basil. A little sprinkle on top, and then this is the thing that I think makes it amazing is getting a really good olive oil. I think it's something that's special. We have a little bit of rosemary, lemon vinaigrette, which we'll spoon a little bit over the top. But we're going to do a little bit of that. And it's really, I'll tell you, the style of cooking we do at the restaurants, it's pretty simple. It's not hard. We're not trying to blow people's minds on fancy stuff. We just want to have really good ingredients. If you guys heard that, that was a neighbor taking out the trash, I think.
It's trash day tomorrow. There you go.
And then if you guys have one of these lemon presses, I think they're amazing as well. Get a little bit of citrus on there. Not a lot. I think tomatoes don't need a ton. So that, in my opinion, is a nice tomato salad. You guys can see that. I think it's delicious. It's fresh. It's super simple. You can make it a couple of minutes, and that, you know, as a side for what we're going to do next is pretty sweet, in my opinion. Gonna give this to you. We're gonna have somebody come over and grab this, and we'll put it aside for a second. Can you do me a favor? Get the polenta out of the fridge. It's in a little container. Okay. So that is our tomato salad dish. You guys can make that at any time. We're gonna go on and make our, yeah. You can do them whatever you want. I got that question the other day. Should we chop the herbs or tear them up? And it's the same thing about like when you're washing lettuce heads, right? You know, do you tear it or do you chop or do you slice it, right? I think it's really. I think the thing about cooking is it's a personalized thing. Whatever you feel the most comfortable with is what you really should do. Because as long as you buy into it, your food's gonna be so much better. I think I think cooking is one of those things that's two things. The main thing, well, there's three things. The main thing is really good ingredients. B is a lot of practice. Like people say that, you know, hey, how come Ethan can cook a better steak than Ruel? Not that I'm saying I can. I probably can, because I've probably cooked about 5,000 steaks in my life. And that repetition of practice, no matter what you're doing, whether you're cooking steaks or shooting free throws, whatever it is, practice helps out. And then thank you, appreciate it. And then having an opinion about things, making a decision, having an opinion about what you like, because food is one of those great things. Whatever your opinion is it really is correct, because your taste buds are no different, or your taste buds are totally different than anybody else's on the planet. So whatever you think is great is really what's great to you. So I highly encourage people to just practice, take an opinion, have a stance on it.
Yeah, wonderful. I'm going to insert myself real quick to give the people cooking at home some time to catch up to the chef who's just slicing and dicing and, made 5,000 steaks, and people are still trying to salt the first part, the tomato, which delicious, by the way. So we're trying to make as much as we can to engage you folks in the chat box. We're seeing that you're typing. I'm watching the screen right over here. But we want to make sure that you're also paying attention. So I'm going to ask you a question, and you're going to write a response inside the chat box. And as a result of getting the first correct answer, individuals who put the first correct answer will win this little book, which is tough to see because the font is very thin. It's evicted by Matthew Dempson, and also win a $50 gift card to Donna Modi's Marjorie on Capitol Hill. All right? So first, move your cursor to the chat box. Put your fingers on the keyboard. Here's your first question. Lauren talked about a couple of key partners in this work. Can you name one? Go. Home Base is the name of the program. All right, we have, was it Mario? Mario won with the first King County. Mario, this is your book gift card along your way. Sorry for the interruption. I'm sure most of you have caught up by now. So we'll give it back to Ethan to start grilling some food. And also Microsoft. Thanks for that. I appreciate that.
Microsoft was great. And also the fact that you guys are all paying attention to Home Base. That is a super cool program. And you guys should all dig into that for sure. That is what United Way of the Mariners put together and funded, and will need a lot more funding coming up. It's a pretty special program. I know it started with United Way, and one of the board members of United Way who works for the Mariners is Fred Rivera. Super smart guy, super caring about the community, really cool guy. So I'm going to keep going a little bit here because if you're not grilling, okay, you can certainly do this. And if you have a steak, you can do it 100%. If you have a grill pan on top of your stove, that's great. You can do that. If you have a piece of chicken, you're gonna need to turn your oven on to about 350, 400, because you're gonna sear it skin side down until it's crispy. Flip it over, and then put the whole pan in the oven to kind of roast it until it's done. In an oven as well. Steaks, medium rare, I'm going to talk to you about resting. So if you sear it hard on both sides for about 3 minutes, it'll rest long enough, and you let it rest for 10 minutes, it'll finish cooking throughout the resting process. But all of that I'll explain, and it'll make a little bit more sense as I'm talking about it. Okay, so we're talking about the proteins here, right? One of the things people ask me all the time in cooking is, hey, how do I get that perfect steak? Why does the chicken at the restaurant taste so much better than what I do at home? Why is the steak better? Why does the steak always have that perfect red eye in it? And there are a few things, and I'll teach you some. I will give you some pointers right here. We do a fair amount of conversations about cooking proteins, right? So whether it is a steak, a piece of chicken, scallops, halibut, salmon, black cod, lamb, you name it, right? It's all kind of the same. And hear me out when I say that. The process of cooking them is all pretty similar. The doneness temperatures are very different, right? So halibut, you cook all the way through. Salmon can be served medium rare. Chicken you cook all the way through. Steak can be served medium rare. So it is kind of the same process. Like, because I'm going to cook both these the same, the chicken's going to have to cook a little longer, right? So first thing I'll say, the main thing about cooking proteins, right, in my opinion, is when you go to the butcher shop. You know, you need to go in and ask for the cut you want, or pick out something that's pre-portioned and that is gonna suit your needs perfectly, right? See this thickness? This is about an inch and a half, right? You want that amount of thickness on most things, whether it's a pork loin, a pork chop, a piece of salmon, whatever it may be. You want this nice thickness. It's a good thickness for you because the cooking process is pretty simple in that. And the techniques I'm going to show you right now can be kind of applied to almost everything that is about that thickness. So if you think about a thick, big scallop, it's about this thickness, right? So the first thing you got to do is make sure you get a center cut piece of steak, salmon, whatever it is. You want to make sure that it is consistently thick all the way at the end. So if you go to the grocery store and you see the tail end of salmon, don't get that, because one side of it's this thick and the tail end is this thick, right? So it's going to cook differently because of the thickness as it goes down. You know, so you got to be cautious of some of those things, right? So the second tip, so that's the first tip. Make sure you get a even thickness butchered steak, chicken, whatever it is. You want to make sure it's consistent all the way through. The next thing is, I will tell you, is that moisture is your enemy when you're cooking things, right? Moisture is water, is blood. It's not oil. It's not fat. It is water or blood. So make sure every time you're cooking something, whether it's a piece of salmon, halibut, scallops, chicken, steak, I always pat everything dry. You know, that is one thing, right? Next thing about this is I let it sit at room temperature for about 20 minutes before I cook it, because it's going to bring it up a little bit more to room temperature. So it's not going to be fighting the cold inside to get it, to penetrate the heat all the way through. If it's really cold, then the outside of whatever you're cooking is going to get a little bit overcooked before the inside even gets heated up, if that makes sense, right? You're kind of fighting an ice cube kind of thing in the middle. Okay, so to pat these dry. Yep. Pans. So we have a question about pans. Pans, in my opinion, are super important. I want to make sure that my pan is heavy on the bottom. If you're using a stainless steel pan, you want to make sure that it's got a good weight to it. There's a few pans that I use. I love cast iron. They're great. They're heavy. They're thick. They hold heat amazing. They sear a steak or sear a piece of chicken really well, because they hold that heat so much, and it's a nice thick piece of iron. But the problem with cast iron is really hard to maintain. They rust really easily, right? So there's a few pans that I like, right? I like all clad pans are great. Le Creuset pans are great, and there's a nonstick pan called a Scan pan that I love as well. Those are my three pans that I use, or my three lines. Now, granted, here my thought about it is they're all, Scan pans are moderately expensive. They're all pretty expensive. But an all-clad pan and a Le Creuset pan, I have got all-clad pans that I've had for 25 years that work perfectly fine. It is a one-time investment because they are so well made that you won't need to buy another one. And I think the things that you need are a 10-inch pan, a 10-inch saute pan, a 12-inch saute pan, 8-quart rondeau, a 6-quart saucepan, things like things that are I think I basically use 4 or 5 different pans, and that's all I have. I don't really have that many, so it's that kind of one-time investment thing. Okay, so I hope that answered people's questions. Okay, so I've got these things patted dry. The next thing I do is I make sure I season last second before it goes on the grill or the stove, because salt draws out moisture, and moisture is the enemy, as I said earlier. And if anybody has had like a piece of chicken that's stuck in a pan, it's probably because it wasn't dry. And salting last second ensures that it's not going to draw out a bunch of moisture. The moisture will stay inside the protein, and it won't stick to the grill, create steam, and rip the skin off or anything like that, right? So, and I'm pretty generous with salt. I know everybody says, why does food taste better at restaurants? I will tell you right now, we are not afraid of salt. And then generous with pepper. I'm a big fan of freshly cracked pepper. I season both sides for sure. This is the process I think people kind of hurry through right here. A lot of the things in restaurants that I think are big difference makers are A, the seasoning process, and B, the resting process, which we'll talk to you about that in a second. You know, resting food is really important in my opinion. It lets all the moisture kind of relax inside of protein, and you don't have all that pork or all the blood pouring out on the table or on your plate when you're slicing into it. Okay, so a couple things. All these are seasoned, right? Lots of salt and pepper. Steaks on a grill don't need any extra oil on them because they got fat. Fat will render out. It won't stick on the grill at some point, right? Chicken is pretty lean, needs a little bit of oil. Now, the thing about when you're oiling things, whether it's vegetables or chicken or salmon or whatever it may be, this goes super light. You're not seasoning with this. You're just brushing it on so it won't stick to the grill, right? That's the main thing you're doing at this point. Okay. Question about, do we sous vide in the restaurants? Yes, and yes and no. I mean, I know a lot of people have talked about sous vide and you control temperatures. Yes, you can. I don't do it at home. At the restaurants, we do it. Like at Tavolata, we use sous vide pork chops because they're, it's a 14 to 16 ounce pork chop, and start to finish, that pork chop will take 45 minutes to cook. And rest properly.
Sorry, guys. It looks like we're having some technical difficulties. Hopefully we'll get Ethan back in just a second. Bear with us. You can let that steak rest a little bit longer.
Oh, I thought that was a pause so I could run out to my grill and.
There you go. You could do that too.
We're back.
We back?
Here we go.
Okay. So we're back. Oh, sous vide, yeah. So we use it at the restaurants for convenience to make sure that that our customers aren't waiting too long. I mean, there's some nice things about it. You can put herbs and things in the bag. We do that in some of our things. You put rosemary in with your pork chop and garlic and lemon peel. Some of those things are good. At home, I don't feel like I need it or it improves things. I think it's best just to do simple cooking like this and then let the proteins rest properly. I think that's the best way to keep as much moisture and flavoring as possible. And then if you want to add rosemary or lemon to your steak or your chicken, do it at the end with fresh herbs so they don't, it's like a nice light vinaigrette, something along those lines. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do, while these are grilling, I'm gonna add a little bit of the veggies that we sent along with you guys. Again, we got some peppers, we got some patty pan squash, we got some baby zucchini. I'll do all this stuff, it seems good. So the same thing goes, right? Light olive oil. You don't want the grill to flare up from all the olive oil coming down, so you want to keep it light. This is just to keep it from sticking, right? And start a little bit of the releasing of the moisture of the natural moisture in the vegetables, right? Grill temperature, it really depends. The question was about what grill temperature I like. It's really what what you're comfortable with. The higher the temperature, the faster it's going to cook, the more you have to let the protein rest. So I think it's about how comfortable you are. But I think in general, 500 degrees is pretty good. Get things cooked. At times, a lot of steakhouses, because they cook things so hot and so fast, they'll cook on a 900, 1,000 degree grill. I find that to be a lot and very hot. So I don't tend to do that very much. But it's also kind of cool, I mean, that hot of a grill is pretty amazing. While we're doing this, I'm gonna throw another log on here. Couple more logs, get some heat up. As you guys can see, we're getting a nice crispy skin here. It's looking pretty good. I gotta tell you, what we do here. So this is as I said earlier, is a green egg. So we started it off with mesquite and adding a few fresh logs of applewood to create a nice little extra little smoke. It's just pretty cool. I think it's great. Okay, so back to these guys. A little salt, a little pepper, and then I'm just gonna make sure these are lightly coated in olive oil. Then I'm gonna put them on the grill, just simple. You know, and the thing about the peppers and these things, they don't need to come off the grill and be super hot. These things can be sitting at room temperature for a little bit. It's serving them a little bit above room temperature or fresh grilled vegetables are fantastic. I mean, that's the one thing I think people have a hard time with cooking is they feel like everything needs to come out and be super hot. And that's, in my opinion, that's not the best. I think the best temperature for most foods, you know, obviously soup is different, is just 10 degrees above body temperature. You know, it feels good, the textures are great, but that's just my personal opinion. So I think people get really stressed out about temperature, and I think personally, I think it's not as important as a lot of people feel. But that's also my opinion. As I said earlier, we all have to have our opinions, and that's an important one. Maybe it's just because I don't want to work that hard. I don't know, maybe. Okay, so we're grilling some stuff here. I'll leave that there.
You're grilling. Maybe I'll make a quick plug.
Yeah, go for it.
There you go. All right. So one of the things that we also wanted to talk about in the midst of this is just United Way's Day of Caring. So many people are asking how you can get involved beyond donating. In September, we'll have a week dedicated just for that. It's 5 days, 5 ways to build an equitable community. And you can simply go to uwkc.org to sign up, and we'll send you emails during this week. There's virtual volunteering opportunities from mask making to sharing your travel stories and photos with isolated seniors to hosting a supply drive to families in need. We got a panel discussion plan with different experts, and you'll be some in-person volunteer opportunity as well. There's something for everyone. And Ethan, maybe you can also talk about some of the events that we're going to be happening called Eat, Drink, and Be Generous.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. You guys check out UnitedWayKingCounty.org/Be Generous. We've got a program that we started off this year called Eat, Drink, it's not new this year. It's a different kind of new this year, as most things are. But Eat, Drink, and Be Generous is a program that's super cool. We talked a long time about during this campaign year what's important to us. I think it's one of the things that's really great about United Way is they want us, every year campaign chair, they want you to have they want you to be engaged with something you want to be engaged with. And obviously the restaurant industry, I'm super sympathetic towards this year. A lot of people are struggling. So we put together this program. And if you guys are working for companies that maybe want to donate to this program, that'd be great. Talk to them. It is about supporting restaurants. We're going to do educational and United Way outreach programs at a bunch of restaurants this year. We're going to go rent them out, have small groups in, whatever's allowed, obviously, and whatever's safe. But to help promote the restaurants, give them a little business, help spread the word of United Way. It's a really nice win-win, and you guys definitely check it out. We got events outside that are socially distanced coming up on the 17th and 23rd at Birmingham Heel Tap with Jen Doak down in Ballard and Donna Moody up at Marjorie. So they both have fantastic patios that are super romantic and pretty, and they obviously are very community minded like most of us are. So definitely check those things out. Seating is limited, so sign up now, please. But yeah, and also check out the events we have coming up. Right now it's a little limited, but we're definitely planning for a pretty active new year and spring. So please check it out.
Thanks, Ethan. We also have one question from Jill. What is Ethan's favorite cooking/wine show or movie?
Oh, well, that's a good question. A little fact about me that most people I don't know, I don't ever watch cooking shows. They kind of drive me crazy. Movies, obviously like Big Night, Babette's Feast. There was actually a super cool movie called Eat, Drink, Man, Woman that was, I don't know, 20 years old. And it has one of the coolest entry points, beginning of the restaurant. It's this Chinese chef who just has this, he's cooking live fish. He's killing them. He's butchering. It's a really cool intro scene. It really sets the mood for a fantastic movie. So yeah, those are a couple of my favorite things.
Cool. So where are we at the cooking process?
We are grilling our steaks, as you guys can see. Nice and charred right there. Got its great smoke flavor. Ruel and I are both going to smell like campfires tomorrow.
Oh, this is what I'm going to look forward to.
Yep. And I'm also going to grill a little of this polenta. So we're about to take some of this stuff off the grill. And then we'll talk about the resting process. We want to make sure that the resting process is respected, because resting, I think, is one of the most important things for food, particularly proteins. You want to have your steaks and your chicken and your pork rested properly. Seafood's not as important, but the reason you have all the proteins like the steak and the pork and the chicken rested is because what happens in the cooking process, all the heat goes around so intensely on both sides of the cooking sides that when you're cooking a protein, it forces all the moisture in the middle, kind of like a ball in the middle. And if you cut into it, it's kind of like popping a balloon. But if you let it rest and calm down and cool down in temperature, all that moisture kind of disperses back into the protein. That's why when you cook a steak and you slice it immediately, it has all that juice that pours out on the plate. It's actually fundamentally incorrect. And you go to a restaurant, you see a nice sliced steak. It's got a really deep, rich red eye. That's from resting. So make sure you're resting your proteins. Super important.
Yeah.
You're going to make the flavor a lot better.
Great. We have a question from Michael over here. He's using a gas grill. How hot would you recommend to preheat it to cook the steak?
Gas grill, yeah, I'd take it up to the top, 450, 500 degrees. If you're using a gas grill, yeah, definitely get it pretty hot, because I like to grill things open. When I put the corn on in a second, I'm going to shut it just to get it really kind of smoked in there and pressure, a lot of heat. But for the most part, I like open grilling things. I like to look at them. I like to see them. I like not having it so intensely hot that my steak gets overcooked like that in a second.
I'm so sorry for the people on Zoom because it just smells good. And I'm like, there's no smell-o-vision yet. Someone needs to work on that. Someone before I pass, just make smell-o-vision for me. It's all I need to see.
I think these steaks are really good. I mean, as you can see, they're about 3 minutes on each side, high heat. We're gonna let them rest properly now. And then when you're resting things, you want to make sure you let it rest for 10 minutes on steak. Chicken can be a little less because there's not so much blood in it. But make sure, and on average, you're resting things for 10 to 15 minutes. And I promise you, it will not get cold. It's not as cooling as people think it is. It doesn't get as cold as people think it is as fast.
Oh, there's one more question from John and Jill. Ethan, they noticed that you never closed the grill, and you mentioned it a little bit. Why is that important?
Well, the reason I don't close the grill, and I will when I cook the corn, right? But the reason I don't cook the grill is I don't shut it is because when I shut this thing, right now the grilling temperature here is about 550 degrees, 600 degrees. If I shut it, this whole thing's the green egg is so, and all grills are so insulated, and the temperature just goes crazy. It'll get up to like 850 degrees, 900 degrees, and that's when you have the danger of a lot of stuff getting overcooked. So this takes a little longer to cook it, but it's a much safer approach than trying to get this thing perfectly cooked and rested at an 850 degree temperature. That's hard for me to even do, because at that point you're just basically guessing what the correct amount of heat is to allow the resting period to coast it to the correct temperature, if that makes sense. And also, just for you guys know, in the restaurants, I've done this, like I said, thousands of times. We still use thermometers in restaurants. Get an instant read thermometer. They're a great thing. Understand whenever you use an instant read thermometer, understand that when you temp it, if you take it off at that temperature, like a steak, I take off at about 110, 115 degrees, because I know it's going to continue coasting up another 7, 8, 10 degrees. It's going to keep going up. So if you want your chicken to be served at 165, Take it off at 155 because it'll definitely get up there. And I'm going to show you a quick tip. When you're cooking just chicken breasts, right? Is when you do it, make sure you peel back. This is called the tenderloin. You make sure this is the great place to have a good idea of how far it's cooking, because this is going to be the last part that gets cooked. And you can see this is still a touch pink. So I realized through that it needs to go, it needs to cook a little bit more. But it's getting really close.
Oh my God. It's smelling so good. And I get to watch Ethan, the master chef, cook out here. Can I ask the master chefs of home to like turn on their camera so I can just ooh and ah at your style of cooking? Come on, turn it on. Don't be
Who's got
shy.
something out there? Who's brave?
Or just wave to Ethan. My goodness. We're just talking to one another and a camera. We're trying.
Our grill's outside. I don't know if we can get a shot of it.
Did you just unmute it?
Yeah.
Here's ours in the kitchen.
Oh, I see the tomato salad.
Here's our tomato salad.
It's looking good, Philip. Mighty good. I appreciate that, John and Jill. Woo.
Mute us.
Kids are at bedtime, so they're respecting Ethan's resting process. That's quality. That's jokes. I appreciate that. All right, Kayleen is asking about the polenta. What's going on with that?
Just slow grilling it. This is a hard polenta for some of the vegetarians we had this evening. But yeah, I'm just gonna grill it a little bit to get it a little crisped up, get a little of that smoke flavor. Gotta make sure it gets a little bit of char in it. We'll flip it over in a second and show you what it looks like.
Cool. Much appreciated. All right, so we're gonna give you another opportunity to win a book as we're going through this process. And this book is Cast, The Origin of Our Discontents by Isabel Wilkerson. Oh my God, can't pronounce things the right way today. And so, again, we're gonna ask you a question. You're gonna put the answer in the chat box. So move your cursor over to the chat box, put your fingers at the ready. So here's the question. Lauren talked about the number of families helped with United Way's rental assistance. How many people received assistance? Go. I'm looking, I'm staring. We got 1,500, we got 9,000. 1,400, 2,700. Maybe Lauren can share out the answer in a few seconds. Lauren, hit us with the answer. Who won?
Yeah, so we have helped over 3,000 families, and so I think somebody got that. Yeah, 3,000 families and nearly 9,000 people.
Juliana,
Nicely done. Good listening.
This book is for you, and plus a $50 gift card to Brimmer and Helltap in Ballard. So we'll get that over to you. Congratulations on winning that prize. Yo, Lisa, feel free to tell us what you think in the chat box.
You know, Ruel, one of the things I've been thinking about is the fact that we've been able to help this many people is because of our change makers. It's literally this group of people who have helped donate to United Way, so we had highly flexible money to be able to give out to our community members who are in need. So what an incredible group of people, and what a way to celebrate with Ethan tonight.
Thanks, Lauren. Greatly appreciate it. All right, back to Ethan, because we've wrapped up what was in the grill.
Okay. So you got some of our vegetables off. We got our peppers, our patty pan squash, our baby zucchini. I took the chicken off, and the steak is resting. And I brought the tomato salad out so we can show the whole kind of thing. And we're getting there with the polenta. And as some of you guys may have seen, but I put the corn on. What I'm doing with this is I'm shutting the grill top on the corn. And the reason I'm doing that is so that it can kind of roast and bake and also collect a bunch of the smoke. I kind of love the flavor of corn on. I love the flavor of smoke on corn. So that's what I'm doing. And I know some of you guys on your home gas grill or your stove. I mean, I'll say that, this is just one way I like it. I think putting a whole ear of corn in a pot of salted water for a minute is delicious as well. I think you do whatever makes sense to you. I think it's really about making sure that you have nice crisp corn when it's done, and seasoning a little nice good olive oil or butter, and some good salt and pepper on it. Ooh.
All right, we got a question from David and Lynette. What are we doing with those olives? Did we catch those in the beginning?
Olives went on the tomato salad.
Ooh, look mighty good.
Okay.
All right, so looks like we're just waiting on that corn
Right on
now.
that corn.
And looks like Ethan is preparing some herbs. So we have a question that we can share on Zoom. We're going to share a short poll. I'm looking for a thumbs up. Is that still? Nope. No, we're not doing a poll anymore. All right. Where does the oregano fit in?
Well, I kind of went a little. I sent some oregano out, so I'm going to use it. But there's a traditional Italian sauce called Salmorejo. That's basically an oregano-based sauce. I mean, I like keeping things pretty simple. Salmorejo's got garlic and capers in it. If you guys want to add all that stuff, that's great. I just like herbs, good olive oil, salt, pepper, and a little bit of fresh lemon juice. So that's what I'm going to make right now. Keep it pretty simple. Really, you doing a poll?
I am. I think I'm doing a poll. They just got the green light. The tech is approved. All right, so we're gonna.
The boss let us do it.
The boss let us do it. I got the thumbs up. All right, so we're gonna run a really, really quick poll to make sure that you folks are engaged. So the first question is, what did you like most about the evening? Did we like learning more about United Way's work? Did we like learning to cook with Ethan, feeling connected with others? You'll see that there's so many questions in front of you. Feel free to go ahead and click on some of those answers. That lets us know how well we're doing and how much you love Ethan. So make sure you click on that one too if you wanted to. But feel free to click on through. This lets us know how we're, what's going on, feeling connected. Ooh, there you go. There you go. I'm watching these numbers change in real time. This is so fancy. Ooh, there you go. There you go. I'm just appreciating the none of the above.
I'm glad the cooking is coming in last.
Fair, fair, fair. We have a bunch of questions coming in. So we'll first hit some questions from Luis. Let's see. What was the favorite brand of that kosher salt that you mentioned?
Diamond Crystal.
Diamond Crystal. I'm also writing that down. Diamond Crystal. And what did you say about prepping the corn before tossing on the grill? Says Chandler.
I didn't do anything with it. I mean, you can either blanch it or not. I didn't. I just put it on the grill because I think corn is best when it's in season. That it's just cooked really quickly, and it still has those nice crunches of the kernels on there. So I don't think you really need to do anything to it.
There. And Juliana has a question about the herbs that I just see you put in a little container.
Yep, and fresh chopped oregano, freshly squeezed lemon juice, and always use freshly squeezed juices. Don't use the little lime thing in the little plastic bottle or any concentrates type stuff. Fresh juice is definitely worth it.
So guilty.
As I said earlier, one of these is great. You get so much more out of it than doing it by hand. These things are fantastic. I'm glad somebody invented them. I wish I had. And then we've got our corn. As you can see, as I take it off, I'm just sprinkling it with a little bit of salt.
Cool. Well, is there anything else that we need to know around the kit that you gave us that folks at home who are cooking or cooking later should know to make sure that they're plating it together and getting it ready to serve?
Yeah, I mean, I think the main thing is just don't worry about it having to be super hot. You know, I mean, flavor is so much more important than temperature and cooking things properly. I think the main thing is people, in my personal opinion, I think people stress out about cooking too much. They're too worried about it having to be perfect, and you know, perfect only happens through a lot of practice. And perfect, even with people that have a lot of practice, doesn't happen all the time. I promise you that. You know, so it's one of the things where it's really. I mean, I'm one of those fortunate people where, you know, my hobby was my career, which is a super huge gift in life. But even I mess up all the time. You know, ask my kids. Half the stuff I make them, they say is terrible.
Yeah,
But
no.
the other half they love, so it's great.
I think people are so excited for you to plate it. So I'll be quiet and watch the magic happen.
Okay, I'm going to slice a steak, and as you see, you know, we let it rest properly. And again, I'll bring this up with the camera. But the lighting here isn't great, but you can see it's got a nice medium rare to it. That means it's gonna be nice and tender and juicy. There's nothing dripping off. That means that there's all the flavors gonna stay in that steak, which is fantastic. Yeah, there's a question about wine. Yes, you were supposed to share that bottle of wine with yourself only. That's the question by John and Jill. It was supposed to be just for John. I mean, the wine stuff, I mean, it's really a preference thing, right? I think that's another thing where people just have to get their opinions and drink what they enjoy. I mean, you know, the whole idea of a perfect pairing is something that's real and special, but it's pretty rare, right? I mean, you know, when you're going out for that kind of experience, I mean, like with this, I mean, you know, I'm gonna have a glass of rosé with my steak after this. Now, is it the most perfect pairing for a grilled steak? Technically speaking, no, but that's what I want to drink, right? So, you know, I definitely, you know, I like rosés. Personally, I like lighter styled things, you know, Pinot Noirs, you know, white wines I like a lot. And it basically, you know, I mean, the general rule is the lighter the food you're eating, the lighter the wine goes with it. And the general color of the food, like if it's halibut, it's better with white wine. Salmon better with red wine, you know. So, and then most meats are red wine things, you know. But chicken is to be a lighter end, pork will be on the lighter end, steak, lamb, bison, you know, venison. It's all going to obviously be on the bigger end of things, you know. So, Italy. You know, it changes all the time, right? You know, if you go to, I mean, obviously Rome is fantastic. And Naples is a unique experience. I'll say that. I love it, and it's also unique. Verona, Cremona, those are probably, you know, right there in, you know, just, you know, in the central north area are probably my favorites. I like the food up north more than I like the food down south. So, you know, that's just my personal opinion. But, you know, I mean, you know, it's one of those things for me when people talk about, you know, hey, I had the best pasta in Italy or I had the best carbonara or cacio e pepe in Rome. And I'm like, yeah, I bet you did. You're on vacation. That sounds great. I wish I was on vacation.
Of course.
So plate this up a little bit. I mean, you can, yes, and try to make it fancy if you want. I don't think it's necessary, you know, but we certainly can try. You know, these things are, the backyard grilling thing is more about family style, and that's kind of what we do in the most part, you know. I mean, I usually cook for, you know, multiple kids every night, and they're not really patient enough to have that 6-course meal just yet. One day I hope they will be, and we'll get them there. But it really is mostly just about getting real ingredients and having natural flavors and natural foods is the best thing out there, you know.
Michael, here's that question about that sauce. There you go. Pour it over the steak.
Pour it over the steak. A little really good olive oil on top of my corn. You know, and obviously you guys saw the tomato salad. There's a little steak presentation. Imagine you can use the same sauce for the chicken if you'd like. I think it looks pretty tasty. Good backyard barbecue. And I'll slice this chicken just so you guys can see the inside. It's nice and moist and tender. I think one of those things is like chicken is. I think it's nice and moist and tender. It's got a good flavor to it. Got a nice crisp skin. I think just food is such a great way for people to hang out and collaborate and share stories and share ideas. So I hope we all get back to hanging out together pretty soon. It's kind of driving me crazy. It's kind of one of the main reasons I got into the restaurant industry is just to spend time with other people and entertain them and have them into our restaurants, to kind of make their day a little bit better at the end of it. So we're looking forward to getting back to it.
Yeah, food is such a synonymous story to building community, sharing the table, and sharing stories and building community. And I'm so appreciative of this time that we get to share in this cooking and watching people engage in Zoom. This is the most social interaction I've had in the last couple of months. So I really, really appreciate participating in it. Again, my name is Ruel, Impact Manager for the United Way. I'm going to give it to Ethan to do our closing remarks and send a message back to the people who are joining us today in Zoom in the ways that they can be supportive of the work that's happening at United Way.
Yeah, and also, I think you guys are obviously change makers, and you guys have obviously, you guys are, as I said earlier, you guys are obviously community minded and focused individuals. You're on the right team with United Way. They've got a lot of smart people here, a lot of dedicated people that are focused on the right things. There's a lot of organizations out there that are doing tons of good, and you can't knock any of them, right? They are making a difference. United Way is making a difference at a scale. That's the thing I think it's important to, they're actually the ones that can tackle the big problems and have the changes, and help facilitate the changes in the systems that we need to have changed, because it's not individuals out there that are a problem. Everybody wants to have all the things everybody else has in life. They want a roof over their head. They want to be educated. They want to have a family. They want to do all the stuff that so many of us take for granted. But we need to change some systems to do that. Not everybody was given the same benefits as a person like I was. It's just a natural fact, and I recognize it and I appreciate it. But that's also why I'm here doing this now. So I think I think you guys getting involved with United Way is huge. Getting your friends involved, recommitting not only under your time efforts, but also this year it's important to commit your dollars. I'm not afraid to say, I'm not shy to say that, United Way needs money this year to help handle some of these problems that this pandemic, is causing. So we're definitely working on a bunch of angles, and, in a small way here today, we're here, obviously we're here being social, and having some delicious food. But I hope we all know that that we're very fortunate to be able to do this. So we got to help out. So I don't know if there's anything else we need to say at all, except thanks for joining us here. Thank you for a great evening. These things are getting more common, so we're getting better at them. Thanks for being patient with us a little bit. But it's nice to see you guys out there. It's nice to see faces again. Ruel, thanks for being a great co-host.
No, I appreciate it. If you guys wanted to ever send images of your food, let us know so that we can take those pictures and share them off. Feel free to take a picture and send them to United Way. It's so exciting to see.
Put them on social media. Tag ESR, tag United Way. For sure. Definitely spread the word about United Way and what we're working on.
Thank you so much for being a change maker. Have a wonderful evening. We'll catch you next time around with Ethan Stoll.
Okay. Thanks. Be well.